Wow. Okay, let's just dive right into this quote. As long as nations, governments, and laws still exist, humankind has not yet entered a truly civilized society. I mean, that is a massive, radical proposition, isn't it? Right from the jump, the author of this text, Feng, isn't just suggesting we make some minor tweaks to how our society operates. No, he is throwing out the entire playbook. Today, we're going to unpack this incredibly bold thesis and try to figure out exactly what a world without these foundational structures would even look like according to his vision.
Welcome back to The Explainer. I am so glad you're here with us today. We are focusing intensely on an October 2025 philosophical text by Feng, and it's titled, A Civilized Form of Life Without Nations, Governments, or Laws. My goal today is to really clearly structure these frankly very complex utopian concepts for you. We'll capture the author's primary arguments directly so we can efficiently grasp the logic of this proposed new world step by step.
So how are we going to tackle this? Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start by defining true civilization. Then we'll look at something called the 1,000-year world, the end of nations, outgrowing the government, a society without laws, and finally, the future of Earth.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, defining true civilization, and looking at the core thesis.
Looking at the foundational premise that kicks off this whole philosophy, what's really striking here is the absolute, uncompromising nature of the author's argument. According to Feng, our current human institutions don't just need a little reform or a policy update. He claims they are actively preventing genuine civilization from forming. Think about that. For humanity to reach what he defines as true civilization, these three specific pillars, nations, governments, and laws, must not just evolve. They literally have to disappear. It's a total, bottom-up, systemic reset. The whole shebang.
Moving right along to Section 2, the 1,000-year world, which he presents as a universal model.
Now you might be sitting there wondering, okay, is there any precedent for this whatsoever? Well, take a look at this number. 200 million. Feng introduces this wild concept of a planet elsewhere in the universe called the 1,000-year world. He describes it as being 10 times the size of Earth, home to a staggering population of nearly 200 million people. And the absolutely crucial detail here is that these 200 million individuals supposedly live joyfully, freely, and happily with absolutely no nations, no governments, and no laws. Yet somehow everything operates in perfect order. It's like a giant puzzle where all the pieces just naturally fit.
And this is brilliantly illustrating how the author grounds his sort of cosmic idea back into our day-to-day reality. He states, our practice on Earth has confirmed that the model of the 1,000-year world can be fully realized here. So he wants to make it crystal clear that this lawless, borderless model isn't just some distant, unreachable sci-fi fantasy. He firmly believes it is a fully applicable, highly testable framework for our very own planet.
Which brings us to Section 3, the end of nations and the actual cost of borders. So let's begin dismantling that first pillar. How exactly does the author define a nation? Well, spoiler alert, he doesn't see it as a beautiful shared cultural heritage or just a necessary administrative boundary. No, according to the text, a nation is inherently an oppressive construct. He argues it's just the product of a small group's ambition, explicitly created to rule and control others. From his perspective, borders and nation-states are simply not designed for the well-being of everyday common people. They're designed for elite control.
To really underscore this point, he sets up a very clear, very heavy contrast. On one side, we have actions taken in the name of national security. The author points directly to the sheer tragedy of war, specifically citing the millions killed or wounded in the Russia-Ukraine war. He heartbreakingly notes that every single young life lost on those battlefields was a mother's beloved child, sacrificed under the banner of protecting the nation. And then he contrasts this tragedy with his proposed alternative, one world, one family. He's arguing that a unified human family is infinitely superior to this endless, destructive competition among divided nations.
Okay, on to Section 4, outgrowing the government. This is where we see a fascinating paradigm shift. Now we move to the second pillar, and there is a really interesting narrative shift here from the author himself regarding governments. Let's trace his own realization on this timeline. In the past, he actually admits he believed governments were totally necessary. I mean, he wondered exactly what we all wonder. How could society possibly function without them? But the pivot happens on a highly specific date, October 24, 2025. On this very day, an entity or system called Zin Shokao of Life Chanyan is born. Because of this specific event, he claims governments are suddenly rendered completely obsolete. This paves the way for a future where, without state rule, societal vitality is fully released, allowing people to just live relaxed, joyful lives. Okay, we definitely need to define a very specific and very unique term from the text here. What on earth is Sinshou Kao of Life Chanyan? Well, Xuefeng proposes this as the precise replacement system. It is the singular entity that can seamlessly step in and assume the complete work of managing human society the very moment traditional governments vanish. Think of it as the master administrative key that unlocks his whole vision of a joyful, stateless society.
That takes us to Section 5, a society without laws, and the complex issue of eradicating crime. Let's tackle this third and final pillar. I want to invite you into a little thought experiment with me here. How does a society actually restrain crime if literally all laws are abolished? Like no police, no courts, nothing. Well, the author lays out a highly specific three-step methodology. He claims it's actually incredibly simple. Step 1. Every citizen studies the mind purification course to preemptively wipe out criminal thoughts and motives from the psyche. Step 2. People use the 800 values for New Era humanity as the strict internal compass for all their speech and behavior. And Step 3. Everyone lives together in what he calls the second home. This final step is designed to completely remove the environmental conditions and opportunities for crime to even occur in the first place.
Let's zoom in on that final piece of the puzzle, actually. The second home. This is a proposed communal living environment. By living this way, Xuefeng argues that the very soil for crime just vanishes. Poof. You essentially replace the entire penal and legal system with an entirely new, highly structured communal social fabric. This is supposed to ensure humanity mirrors the perfect order of that highly civilized 1,000-year world we discussed earlier, entirely without a single legal restriction.
Finally, Section 6, the future of Earth, and what looks to be a rapid transition.
Let's bring this explainer to its resolution by seeing exactly how the author connects these vast, sweeping philosophical ideas back to our immediate real-world timeline. In theory, it is clear, and consciousness it is understood. The huge takeaway here is Xuefeng's absolute, unwavering certainty. He fully believes that with the conceptualization of his ideas and the birth of Sinshou Kao, the heavy lifting is already done. The theoretical groundwork for a complete global transformation is fully in place. Which leaves us with this final, genuinely provocative thought, directly inspired by the author's conclusion. With the systems he claims are now fully in place, is Earth genuinely and rapidly moving toward an age without nations, governments, and laws? It's an incredibly radical timeline and a sweeping vision of humanity's future that really challenges the very foundation of how we currently organize our entire world. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer to structure and examine these fascinating ideas. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I really hope this provided a clear window into Xuefeng's deeply thought-provoking text. Catch you next time.